Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on quite a journey, really, into art history. But look, this isn't going to be about just memorizing names and dates. Not at all.
Right.
Our mission, our real aim here, is to try and uncover what art genuinely tells us about, well, being human.
Yeah, but our deepest feelings,
Yeah.
the struggles we all face, that search for meaning that seems to run through everything.
Exactly. So the big question we're asking is, what if art, all those paintings and sculptures, could actually show us something about the meaning of life itself?
That really is the core of it, isn't it? Exploring art history isn't just about tracking styles changing over time.
No.
It's like watching humanity talk to itself, figuring things out. Art's always been this incredible mirror.
A mirror to the soul, you could say.
Yeah, reflecting our beliefs, our joys, our sorrows, that universal need for connection, for understanding. It's basically the human story unfolding.
So, okay, in this deep dive, we're going to unpack how different times, different art reflect these really fundamental human questions.
From ancient ideas about spirituality and, death.
To moments of intense suffering, but also incredible joy. And always that hump for beauty, for truth. It spans centuries.
It really does.
Okay, let's really get into this. Let's see how art has always tangled with our deepest questions, maybe offering some clues about how we find meaning. Let's start way back. Gombrich, the art historian, he suggested art's been with us practically forever, right? Since primitive times.
Almost like it's part of us.
Yeah. And thinking ancient civilizations, you kind of have to start with Egypt, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. For the Egyptians, art wasn't just decoration. It wasn't just big, impressive buildings.
No, it was much deeper.
It was profoundly tied into their spiritual world, especially everything around death and what comes after.
Right, the afterlife journey.
Exactly. And this gives us a really fascinating window into how they saw the world. They believed the soul went on this sacred, tough journey after death.
To live forever with the gods.
Right. And the pharaohs, they were seen as living gods themselves. So their souls were destined for the divine. Now, originally there were practices. Pretty grim ones, actually.
Like burying attendants with the pharaoh.
Yes, exactly. So they could serve them in the afterlife. But here's where it gets truly profound. Art stepped in.
How so?
Art became a substitute, a powerful act of transformation, really. Over time, instead of sacrificing people, they filled tombs with art.
Like those little figures, Shabti figures.
Thousands of them. Each one carved to serve the dead pharaoh, ensuring their spiritual journey was complete, but without, more human loss. Art literally became a path to immortality.
Wow, that's a massive shift. Creation replacing sacrifice. And their art style itself, it tells a story too, doesn't it?
It really does. They followed what people often call the Egyptian law of art.
Which means?
Which basically dictated that artists should show what was known about something, not just what was seen at a particular moment.
So not like a photograph, more like an idea.
Exactly. They used the clearest, most characteristic angles to show the complete essence. So, a face might be in profile, but the eye looking straight at you.
Right, I've seen that. Body frontal, but arms and legs sideways.
Precisely. Think about drawing a pond. From the side, it's just a line, maybe some reeds.
From above.
From above, you see the whole shape, the water, maybe fish swimming in it. So the Egyptians would draw the pond from above to show its shape, but the fish from the side, because that's the most recognizable view of a fish.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't about trying to be realistic in our sense.
Not at all. It was about capturing the absolute, unchanging truth of the thing. Its full nature, not just a fleeting glimpse.
That makes sense. The enduring essence, not the temporary appearance.
That's it. This style wasn't interested in how something looked for a second. It was about revealing the underlying reality, the complete idea behind it.
Which really tells you something about how they viewed the world, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests they prioritized the known, the unchanging spiritual reality, over just what their eyes saw, the fleeting sensory world.
A belief in a fixed, eternal order. Permanence over appearance.
Exactly. The meaning was in what lasted, not what changed.
And maybe the most famous example of that has to be Tutankhamun's golden mask.
Oh, absolutely iconic.
It's more than just something found in a tomb, isn't it? It feels like a symbol of the soul's immortality itself. Breathtaking.
And when Howard Carter found it in 1922, it just stunned the world.
You can see why. Its power, its spiritual weight.
Yeah.
It still hits you today. It speaks to that universal human longing for something beyond death, right? For continuity.
Definitely. A powerful testament to those ancient beliefs. So, okay, you have Egypt focused on that symbolic essence, on permanence, but then we jump over to ancient Greece, and wow, It's a dramatic shift.
Like night and day almost.
Pretty much. The focus swings completely to what is seen, to realistic representation, and above all, celebrating the human form. The tangible world takes center stage.
And what a celebration. You think of those amazing Greek sculptures like Discobolus, the discus thrower.
Perfect physical tension, right?
Yeah.
Balance, energy.
Yeah, it's like the ideal human physique brought to life. Or the Venus de Milo. So famous for its proportions, its beauty from every angle.
These weren't just statues. They were like embodiments of an ideal. A striving for perfection here and now. A belief in human beauty and capability.
But it wasn't all just about the perfect ideal in Greece, was it? Things got more emotional.
That's right. As we move into what's called the Hellenistic period after classical Greece, there's this definite shift. More intense emotion, more dramatic stories being told. They started exploring the full range of human experience, including, well, suffering.
Yes, like what?
A really powerful example is the sculpture Laocoon and his sons.
Oh, I know that one. The priest and his sons tangled with sea serpents.
That's the one. It depicts just intense physical pain, emotional agony, a desperate struggle against these, divine forces. It echoes those big tragic stories like the Trojan War.
So classical Greek art was about the ideal human.
And Hellenistic art wasn't afraid to show the raw pain, the anguish, the struggle of being human. It started exploring the tragic side of life.
Those moments where we're up against something huge, maybe forces we can't control.
Exactly. It started finding meaning even in that struggle.
You really feel that visceral conflict, that struggle in the Pergamon altar, too?
Oh, absolutely. That thing is immense.
A huge relief sculpture, right, depicting these epic battles, gods and giants.
The scale is overwhelming, the energy, the detail. It must have made such a powerful impression back then. And honestly, it still does. If you see it in the museum in Berlin...
It hits you.
Yeah. You almost hear the battle cries. You feel the chaos, the despair, but also that relentless will to fight, to endure. It's a reminder that the human story is often one of, well, epic struggle.
So after all that creativity in Greece, art kind of shifted gears again for a long time, didn't it? The medieval period.
Yeah, often called the Dark Ages by some, though that's a bit simplistic. But the art definitely changed focus.
Flatter, more symbolic.
Generally, yes. Very focused on faith. Less on the kind of realism and dynamism the Greeks loved. But then, boom, the Renaissance. A genuine rebirth.
A turning point. Human-centered thinking starts bubbling up again. The church's absolute grip maybe loosens just a bit.
Exactly. New ways of thinking about humanity opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And leading that artistic charge, many would say, was Giotto.
The pioneer.
Often considered that, yeah. His paintings started to show real three-dimensionality again, real emotional depth. It was a fundamental break from that flat, symbolic, medieval style.
So more lifelike.
Definitely. But what's also fascinating is the recognition of the artists themselves, their individual genius.
Ah, not just a craftsman for the church.
Right. Giotto championed the idea that the artist had individual merit, that art was an act of profound creation, not just, illustrating scripture. It signaled a huge shift in how people viewed human creativity and our place in the cosmos.
And then came the real heavy hitters of the Renaissance. Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa. Everyone knows that painting. But what makes it so special, really?
Well, there's that famous enigmatic smile, of course. Is she smiling? Is she sad? What's she thinking?
Yeah, it's hard to pin down.
And technically, Leonardo used this revolutionary technique called sfumato.
Fumato, like smoke.
Exactly. It's this incredibly soft blending of colors and tones, blurring the edges. It creates that mysterious, almost hazy quality. It makes her expression feel alive, shifting.
So it's not just a portrait.
Oh, far from it. It's a deep dive into human emotion, into the mystery of perception itself. It almost challenges us, suggesting that truly understanding another person is always just slightly out of reach, a beautiful, enduring mystery. It speaks to the complexity of human connection,
Wow, okay. And alongside Leonardo, Michelangelo.
Another giant. And you have to talk about the Sistine Chapel ceiling, especially the creation of Adam.
The famous fingers almost touching.
That image, yes. But the story behind it is compelling, too. Michelangelo saw himself mainly as a sculptor. He apparently did not want the job of painting that massive ceiling.
Really? He resisted.
Initially, yes, but then he threw himself into it. 4 agonizing years, mostly spent working high up on scaffolding on his back.
That must have been incredibly painful.
Yeah, he wrote about it. His letters document the significant physical pain he endured. Neck cricked, paint dripping in his eyes. When you look at that ceiling, that suffering almost feels embedded in the paint.
Wow.
And that image, God reaching out to Adam, that almost touch, it symbolizes that profound link between the human and the divine. It's such a powerful statement about human aspiration, our resilience, our drive to create, even when it costs us dearly.
Meaning forged through struggle.
Absolutely, a masterpiece born from immense personal sacrifice.
Okay, so the Renaissance gives us the ideal human, the individual spirit soaring, but art keeps evolving, right?
Yeah.
What happens next? Does that idealism last?
Not entirely. Things get a bit more turbulent, maybe. We move into the Baroque era, which
Okay.
really bursts onto the scene with, well, passion and dynamism, drama, emotion. It's powerful stuff.
So less restrained than the Renaissance.
Definitely. Baroque artists really dug into the raw, unfiltered self. You think of artists like Rubens, maybe, but especially Rembrandt.
His self-portraits.
Incredible, aren't they? He doesn't shy away from anything. He paints the marks of time, the pain, the frustration, life etched onto his face.
They feel so honest.
They evoke such empathy. You really feel you're looking at a life lived with all its burdens and wisdom. It's the full human journey, warts and all.
And then there's Caravaggio. Talk about drama. Judith beheading Holofernes.
Oh, yeah. That
The
painting.
lighting is so intense, that chiaroscuro thing.
Extreme contrast, yeah. Light plunging into darkness. And the scene itself, it's brutal. It shocked people back then, and honestly, it still has the power to make you uncomfortable today.
It really does.
It just lays bare, raw human emotion, violence.
The dark side, maybe. It
Yeah.
shows how daring Baroque art could be. Unflinching. Reminds us of the capacity for both brutality and, well, fierce resolve.
Okay, so art's getting more emotional, more dramatic, but then the world itself changes dramatically, right? Industrial Revolution.
Huge changes. And then photography arrives.
Which must have been a massive deal for painters? Absolutely. Suddenly, here's a machine that can capture reality perfectly, or seemingly perfectly. You might think artists would feel defeated,
Yeah, like what's the point now?
but actually, it kind of freed them up. They realized they didn't have to just copy reality anymore. Photography could do that. So they started searching for new paths.
Focusing on what photography couldn't do.
Exactly. Like capturing fleeting moments, subjective feelings, the internal world.
And that leads us to Impressionism.
Directly. The Impressionists wanted to capture exactly that. Momentary impressions, light, color, feeling, not precise detailed forms.
Like Manet's Olympia. That caused a stir. Well,
Huge controversy. Challenged all sorts of artistic rules and social ideas. Or Monet's impression, Sunrise.
which gave the whole movement its name.
That's the one. And these paintings, they were often criticized at first, even ridiculed.
But now they're beloved masterpieces.
Right. It shows how art can push boundaries, how its meaning can evolve. They ask us to find significance in those fleeting moments of perception.
And speaking of emotional intensity, Van Gogh.
Ah, Van Gogh. For so many people, he's like the ultimate expression of this era's emotional power.
Starry Night. It's more than just a sky, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's like pure emotion swirling in color. It's this powerful testament to how art can be a channel for profound inner turmoil, but also incredible beauty, even in the midst of intense mental suffering.
There's something so raw and immediate about his work.
And think about how incredibly popular he is worldwide, still today. It tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it connects.
It connects because his emotional expression feels universal. That struggle to find beauty, maybe even order, within inner chaos, it resonates. It offers a kind of defiant hope, maybe. Finding meaning in the sheer act of creating, despite everything.
Wow. So that brings us closer to the modern era, the 20th century. And you can't talk about that without talking about Picasso.
Absolutely pivotal figure. And interestingly, you could say he kind of circled back to that idea of essence we saw in Egyptian art.
Really? How so?
But he reinterpreted it completely for the modern age, grappling with a world that was changing faster than ever.
With Cubism.
Yes. With Cubism, Picasso basically took objects apart. He showed them from lots of different angles and perspectives all at once. Think of something like his violin and grapes.
It looks fragmented, broken up.
Exactly. Unlike the Egyptians who chose one single, clear, optimal angle to show the unchanging essence.
Picasso wanted to show all the angles.
All the angles, maybe even all the emotions, all at the same time. It reflected this new, modern understanding that reality isn't simple or fixed. It's fragmented, complex, maybe even contradictory.
So, new way of seeing for a new, more complex world.
Precisely. It really marks the start of modern art's deep dive into the complexities of reality. It asks us, the viewers, to piece things together, to find meaning not just in the image, but in how we perceive it.
And to wrap up this whole incredible journey, we have to touch on Picasso's Guernica.
Yes, a truly monumental work.
It's just devastating. A depiction of that village bombed during the Spanish Civil War.
It conveys the sheer brutality of war with such power. When people first saw it in 1937, apparently it just hit them. Viscerally, they felt the horror.
You still feel it today. The chaos, the suffering, the screaming figures.
It's unforgettable. And it's become this enduring symbol of peace, hasn't it? A powerful protest against violence.
Yeah. It's proof, really, of art's ability to bear witness, to cry out against humanity's darkest actions. It demands that we find meaning, or at least strive for it, even in the face of such senseless destruction. What an incredible sweep through time. From ancient Egypt's search for eternal life to Picasso's cry for peace. It really shows how art reflects us, doesn't it?
It really does. It brings us back to that Gombrich quote you mentioned earlier.
Not technology advancing, but art depending on us.
Yeah. Technology will continue to advance, but the existence of art depends on the attitude of the public. If we show interest in art and accept it without prejudice, art will continue to live.
It puts the responsibility on us, really, to keep looking, keep engaging.
It does.
Yeah.
And it reinforces that idea of art as this mirror to the times, reflecting our collective soul, which, makes you think.
What's that?
Well, fast forward 100 years, 500 years. What stories will our art, the art of today, tell people then about our experience?
What kind of world are we making now, and how will our art reflect that?
Exactly. What meaning are we creating or failing to create that future generations will see in what we leave behind?
That's a heavy thought, but a good one. Art history, then, it's so much more than just pictures on a wall. It's this deep emotional journey through human history, through our search for meaning. It offers endless insights into life itself.
It really does.
So what stands out to you listening to this? Is there a piece, an era, an idea from this deep dive that grabs you? Maybe there's a part of this shared human story you want to explore more through art. Find your own meaning in it all.
Keep looking, keep questioning.
Absolutely. Keep exploring and keep finding those flashes of insight in the incredible art that surrounds us.